Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here. And for, it's a very challenging task because I'm pretty sure everyone here uses AI to code. Who doesn't? Please raise the hand. Wow. Okay, that's good. Good. Okay, so I hope I have enough material to cover the whole afternoon because that's a lot of time. But hopefully, well, with question and I have exercise too. And please feel free to stop me whenever you have a question or when I say something that is unclear. So my name is Hugo Bacard. Then right now I'm an AI engineer at the CNRS. It's near Paris. I'm a mathematician. That's my background in algebra, homotopy. Well, if those, algebra, I'm pretty sure you know. You've heard about that term, but homotopy, if you don't know, it's fine. I'm still a nice guy. And what I'm going to do here is to share what I know as good practices and how I use AI in my everyday work. So keep in mind that I'm not a software engineer, but I sort of learned from the field. And before diving into the main topic, I just want to, tell you some warnings, things that you already know, that different LLMs, large language models, will give you different outputs. And of course, better models will give you better results too, better answers, no matter what better is. And your prompting also matter because if you have good prompts, you will get good outputs. And as a consequence, there cannot be a unique solution to a problem. There are so many factors that will vary. Well, I put the unless thing here because we can manage to have a unique answer per model, but then you have to do a lot of things behind. Okay. All right. I have more warnings regarding what has been said before. And my first advice will be to always be critical when you use AI, because AI hallucinates a lot, even the best model, and it's a normal thing. AI sometimes it happens to generate non-existent library or packages you can test. And always test, it has been said before, like different, but still always test, and there shouldn't be no blind trust. One other aspect that I want to mention before beginning is about security and ownership consideration. Because lately there have been issues about copyright on the code you generate by in AI. So the question, who owns it? Well, I don't have that question yet, but you should be aware that, that when you use a non-sovereign AI technology, well, if you put your idea and get some answers, well, maybe that answer won't be yours anymore. So you have to make sure to know the current law. And of course, as a researcher, engineer, you are involved in some very secret project, and then make sure you don't submit your ideas in some unauthorized AI. So for this course, we're gonna, you're coding with AI, but you need resources. And basically, you have two paths, two options. Well, before the options, well, you at least need an LLM with a good coding capabilities. And for that, you have two options. Either everything runs locally or on the cloud. And On the clouds, well, you have trusted provider or not trusted provider because your data may be used and you don't know what happens behind the scenes. So we need resources, and may I ask you if you know how to run an LLM on your machine, for example? Who knows this logo here? Please raise the hand. I mean, I have the slides for it, but still. Okay, not so many people. So this, yeah, you're right. It's a Llama, but it's a logo for an inference engine called Llama. And it was derived from Llama. You know, Llama is the family of models developed by Meta. So what is Llama? Llama is a tool that allows you to run LLM locally. This is very important, and I think it's a skill you should have because sometimes you may not have internet connection. So, and it's quite easy to use it. And the first demo I'm gonna perform, you don't have to do it, but just for the for your culture, it's good to know. And the command is pretty easy. We have the GitHub repo here. Let me just, hopefully it will work. Okay, let me just, this is the GitHub repo, and you also have even the website, llama.com. This is the hub where you can find models. But for now, let me just show you. I mean, you don't have to do it. Okay. Okay, so no one see my passwords. That's a good thing. Okay, for Llama, let me just, oops. I don't have internet connection here. It's weird. Internet went down a second ago, actually. Okay. So, Llama. No. And let me go here and grab the command because and on the terminal, okay. Well, okay. It's slower than I expected because I've tried this before. I mean, and it was working, it was pretty fast. But it's really easy to install Llama, and once it's installed, this is a virtual machine that I have on my computer here, but once it's installed, you can start pulling model and running model. So here on my Mac, I've already installed Llama. Llama run Llama 3 Vision. That command will download the model to your computer if it's not already present. But if it's already downloaded, then it will just run it. Okay. So I don't know, NC, the capital France. Well, let me just try. That will give you, okay, it's pretty true. Okay, so I think it's very important to be able to use Llama because when you don't have internet connection, but you still want to have AI assistance, it's a good thing to, let me check if, okay, it's still running, but anyway. You have all the instructions here, and then you have two main commands. Llama pull to pull a model, and Llama run to run a model. But this command rubs both of them. The run will pull automatically. But in order to be able to run a model, and if you want a fast inference, you should have a GPU on your computer. So make sure you have a GPU and check here, sorry, on the hub, here you have many models. For example, if you want DeepSeek, here are one, and select the model that will fit your GPU device. You know, don't pick this one, for example, because I mean, it's just too much. So I mentioned that's the local option, but there are alternatives to Llama. You have VLLM for Linux machines and other stuff like light LLM too. But anyway, when it comes down to use cloud resources, I mean, of course, you have the very known chat interface, ChatGPT, Claude, Lucia, or an API-based usage for when you want to type in. But let's pause for a moment, and I want to share some advice because this session is about good practices and advice. My first advice, or maybe opinion, is that you cannot keep up with the AI hype. Every day there is a new tool, there is something new, and you just can't, and you shouldn't. But AI, at the same time, can help you find the right tool. Now you have AI connected to the internet using a technology called MCP. We'll see that later. MCP, I will mention that later. But what you should do is to ask questions, relevant question to AI. For example, you are a PhD student here, and you have no idea how to run an LLM locally. Well, you can just ask ChatGPT, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to use it right now. Now, Chrome has this nice feature of having two tabs side by side, and here on the right-hand side, I have ChatGPT, and I have Mistral here. This is the Pro version, because now we're not allowed anymore, and by we, I mean engineer at the CNRS, to use non-sovereign AI resources. So let me just say that I'm a PhD student, or you can just copy-paste that, and we'll see. Okay. Okay. All right. What does it mention? Okay. CUDA and whatever. Okay. Locally. Check your hardware. Okay. See, here ChatGPT mentions Llama directly because it's a very known tool. Whereas Mistral, let me see if it does mention that. So I like this feature very much because, you know, with Chrome you can compare directly. And so yeah, you get the instructions. Because when I was preparing this session, I was asking, what can I say that won't be already outdated within a week? So developing the right mindset is what appears to be important to me. You know, within 2 weeks, within a year, you can use AI to find the right tools for your work. And I'm expecting AI models to be even more powerful so that you don't have to be this specific about step by step. It will understand your question already. So those are my first two advices. And for this course, because not everybody can install a local LLM, we'll be using a model for Mistral AI called Mistral. So I'm going to display here the procedure, and I'm going to ask you if you want to follow with me to get an API key and follow this instruction. There is only one downside, is that it requires phone number verification. But it's free. I mean, it's French, and if you trust them, well, you can get an API key so that you can follow. Or if you have a GPU on your laptop, well, then you can just download any model from the hub. So if you want to take a moment, wait, yes?
Yeah, that was one question maybe I had. To run locally, what kind of resources do you recommend to have? Because, I mean, if you just have a CPU and...
Okay, the first thing is that you need to have a GPU. You know, at least, I don't know, it will depend on your model, but I will say starting from 8 gigabyte GPU, that'll be, you know, you can at least run very tiny models. And I don't know if I didn't mention, but the model that you find here on the hub, the Llama hub, these are quantized model, which means that they were made compact. We reduced their size. And it's about going from float 16 to, say, 8 int bits. That's the procedure, so that you reduce 8 or 4 int. You reduce the size of the model so that they can fit into smaller GPUs. Obviously, it's like compressing an image. The quality will degrade, but still, it's manageable. So yeah, you do require a GPU. Otherwise, well, performing inference on CPU is really, really slow. So if you are willing to give your phone number to Mistral, it's fine. And don't forget to save that API key. And we'll use this endpoint, but I will mention that later. You also have some free resources, but remember, when it's free, usually you're the product. That's the general principle. Okay, if you manage to get an API key, well, we can dive into the main topic.
Maybe wait
okay.
a few minutes to be...
Sure. Oh, let me just display this.
And if we try to run locally, which model do you recommend for this lecture to grab?
Okay, it's another good question. There are many of them, but I think Mistral, which is the one, but this was the previous version. You know, Mistral is a decent model, and you also have DevStral. Yeah, DevStral here. These are decent model, but you have to check the size. I think this one is pretty heavier. So yeah, 15 gigabytes. Well, you need the DevStral, I think, is reasonable. I mean, I have a Mac with a 36 gigabyte, you know, so I can manage to run more powerful model. Okay. Okay, I already have an API here, so no, not here. It's Mistral. Oh, it's because I'm connected to my other account, maybe? Yeah, no, that's not the one. This is the one. Okay, yeah. I managed, with my Google account, I was able to create an API key, but you have to provide a phone number. I mean, because this is the latest model for Mistral, and they want to be sure that, I don't know, for And I should mention that not only Llama runs LLMs, but it also runs VLM, which are vision language models. And you can also serve embedding models for embedding model if you want to turn text or images to vectors, which is something that I do a lot because that's how one of the things you can use to implement semantic-based search engine. You know, when you want to search document or in a vector database, which is the idea behind a RAG system. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So Llama, yeah, it's not only for language models, but for large language model, but it also supports vision. Which means, for example, the one that I used before, Llama 2 vision, you can fit in an image and ask question on the image. Okay, so where were we? Okay. Did it work? May I ask if it works? Did you manage to get an API key for those who have tried? It worked? Okay. All right. And save it, and we'll use that later on. And unfortunately, if you don't have access to AI resources, well, you can still use ChatGPT, but then you'll have many manual copy pasting to do. And okay, maybe one more minute. So concretely, how do you work with AI? I mean, for me, I have two options. Either you have an IDE, like VS Code. For me, it's VS Code. And you have a ChatGPT on the side. Or you have IDE and a plugin or an extension or a CLI app, command line interface app. And the good news is that Copilot now supports Llama model. Before it wasn't. Didn't. And by Copilot, I mean GitHub Copilot. It's not the. But you also have open source alternatives. And today I'll be using one of them. Continue. You have Continue, Windsurf, Cursor. And remember that within a year, there'll probably a dozen, 1,000, hundreds of alternatives. So keep in mind of asking the right question. What are the alternatives to Copilot? And you get many results. So I'm going to start to review the IDE and browser-based AI just like I did before. And you can see, these are the most popular one: ChatGPT, Claude, Le Chat from Mistral, Gemini, Google, and DeepSeek. I don't know the company, but sorry. Of course, these are great models, and the pros is that you have really, really powerful models, and they are good for prototyping, and you have model with long context, and also agentic AI. There are so many goods to say, but when there are also issues. The first problem is the privacy and security, because if you read the the terms, then you'll find out that your data may be used to train. So your prompts are really valuable to them, so just be careful. And you have to control the cost. If it's free, then you still have limitations, sometimes it happened to me that, you know what, you ask too much question, you have to wait maybe 10 hours to reset. And one thing that will become really annoying is the manual copy pasting, And of course, above all, that requires internet. No internet, no access to remote AI system. The other alternatives I just mentioned is to use an IDE like VS Code and an extension. You have the one that comes within VS Code, which is their model. Copilot, I think everyone knows here what Copilot is. But you also have Cursor and Continue and Windsurf, which used to be Codium or something. No, Codium or something. I put this warning here because I've heard that even if you're using an Llama model, which means your model locally, your prompt may be sent to Microsoft anyway. So just to know that if you use GitHub Copilot, then your prompts are sent, to. That's why I put this that little thing here. Okay, there are so many pros, of course. You have privacy, and it's using a plugin. It will scan all your documents, so to provide a context for your project. When you use local model, there are no costs because everything is done locally, and it works offline. That's the point. But then you also have some cons. Is that local models are not as powerful as remote and paid services. And you have to be careful because Copilot can scan your document and API keys. Actually, it happened to me in the very beginning when I was testing. I started typing API key and it automatically complete my whole API key because I didn't know back then. So you have to be careful. It's one of the things that you have to watch. Don't leave the .env file that contain your database passwords or this kind of thing. Put them in other places. Do not leave them in the workspace. That's very important. And you have more hallucination with small model. And if you use paid models, well, then you still have costs to manage. So now, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you manage to have an API key, is to install Continue. Continue is an extension here. Here's the official website. Let me just show you. It's one of the popular way to integrate AI in your IDE. And let me just open my terminal here. Okay. 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 Oops. Let me bring this down a bit. I don't know, maybe I can zoom in it. Yeah, much better. And so, yeah, I already have it, it's here. So this is, when you search for Continue, you'll find it's right here. Since I've already installed it, I'm not gonna remove it, but search for it. And I've never tried with JetBrains IDE, but I'm assuming because they say that it exists, they support also JetBrains. It's not only for VS Code, but you should work with PyCharm or other IDEs. So you should install it. And within a moment, I will show you, how you can add that API key and register the code stral within a continue. They have also a GitHub repo here where if you want to, wait, it's the doc. Yeah. So yeah, if you already installed, then we can do this together in a moment. So the general procedure to add any provider within continue is, you can just follow the doc, but I've already looked up for you. Mistral is right here. Yep. But to summarize it, there is one config file that you need to locate. On Mac and Linux, it's under, oh wait, let me just, yeah. Oh, okay. Hopefully, hold on. Yeah, that's what I will think, but no, it's not working. Which is too bad. But it's that config .yml. But anyway, if you can't locate it, once you've installed a continue, usually there is this logo here. And let me just, no, it's not this one here. Wait. I have so many models, so. Did you manage to locate this file? For those of you who have tried to install continue, no? Have you tried to install, did it work? Oh, the internet, oh. Okay.
We have to install the extension?
Yeah, the extension, just the extension within VS Code doesn't work?
I've got the extension, but I don't have the...
This file? When you say, well, I don't know, it doesn't work, my Zoom doesn't work.
Still installing.
Oh, it's still installing, okay. Yeah, it's really very slow. Okay, you have my APIs key, but I'm sure you won't be able to memorize them, so it's fine. Oh, it's okay. Okay, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. I will just change them afterwards. But yeah, it's a YAML config file that looks like the one you can find on the website. I provided a link there. And I didn't mention, but you can go directly to that link with all the providers. I mean, but you have the slides there. So if I click here, yeah, you'll end up here, and then you're just gonna have to look for the provider. You know, if you're using OpenAI or Amazon or Mistral, it's just too bad that I cannot. Maybe I can zoom in from here. Yeah, from here I can. So if you are using Llama, well, it's the same procedure anyway. So Llama usually follow the OpenAI endpoint, and the default will be the local host here if you're using Llama locally. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to paste the because with Llama, for example, in our institute, we were able to serve our own model so that we don't have to. So yeah, you just need to add this block in the YAML config file, and you'll be good to go. The endpoint that you're gonna use is the one with the code Mistral, that block right here. It's gonna.
It's okay for the file, add the style.
Pardon?
Okay, I've got the file.
Oh, you get the file, okay. Now you can copy and paste that block there under the model and put your API key. See, there are roles here: autocomplete, chat, and edit. Well, autocomplete is the feature that allows you to complete the code as you're typing, just like a GitHub Copilot. The edit mode, well, you have to be careful because it's an agentic feature that gives permission to the model to write things, you know, but you have to be careful. Yes?
ARSP is important in the config.yaml file or not?
The what?
ARSP is like between the start of the line and the
Oh yeah, the indentation here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important. Otherwise, it won't work. So you can follow this. No, not. See, there is an indentation here that has to be. It's just too bad that I cannot zoom in my own config file. But I don't know how it can I have so many models here. Okay. Since it's recorded, well then. Yes.
Does continue find the local model by itself, the Llama model?
Yeah, well, you have to configure.
You have to add them.
You have to add them.
Okay.
Okay, let me just. Oh, just adding provider Llama is enough.
Okay.
Just like this, you know. Llama is enough. But then you have to specify a model you've already downloaded. I have so many things here. And so, does anyone know how I can zoom in a little bit here? Pardon?
Control and
Oh. No.
there is an option in the S code that is called loose wheel. Maybe this is if you go to your config zone, you can look for loose wheel something, and you have to check the box.
Huh.
Or go up to the menu and go appearance, I think.
Where?
So this was zoom in.
Yeah, that's really increase everything.
Okay. It says, oh, okay. Let me try that. Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. But then,
Yeah, it increase everything.
yeah.
As opposed to the loose wheel thing,
Mm-hmm.
it will just zoom inside the editor window.
Oh, here, everything is nice because now we can read the other words too.
So thank you for your API.
Oh, well, it's fine. I'm gonna delete it right away. It's fine. Actually, okay. So I posted on the Slack a code snippet that you can use to test if your API key is valid or not. This is the command line code to test if your API key is working. Because if it's not, then, well. But before using it, you should export your API key first. I don't know if everyone knows. Everyone know how we do that? Exporting a key within command line. If you don't, it's okay. But no. Let me just. You just write. Okay, let me zoom in. Okay, first clear.
Yeah.
Or you can register into your profile, export Mistral. I mean, I've already done API key. Equal, you shouldn't put spaces, and then you put your API key. But my recommendation is to log in, is to put it under your profile, either Bash or ZSH profile. For those of you, yes?
It was not working at the first
Uh-huh.
because it didn't recognize the API.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Mistral
Yes.
regenerate one,
Okay.
and you copy paste inside your profile, it works.
Okay, perfect. Then we get a solution. Okay. So apparently the first API key you get didn't work, but if you regenerate from this page, let me just show you. Here, if you click on that button here to get a new one, a new API key, if you wonder where that page is, look over CodeStral. Click on CodeStral. It's somewhere here. Yeah, when you click on CodeStral, you'll see that page with your API key. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah, and if you generate a new one, then and you put it back on the config.yaml file, apparently it's working. Okay. Is it?
Maybe it needs a bit of time for Mistral to.
Okay. But I'm glad because at least someone. But okay. Maybe there is a time delay between the moment you generate and the moment you're going to use it, but
I think we all went to API keys
yeah.
instead of going to
CodeStral. Oh, okay. Okay. Is it working now? Awesome. Okay. So the solution is once you are logged in Mistral, you have to scroll here on the sidebar to locate the CodeStral. Here. And that's where you generate your.
So it's a different, there are two kinds of API key.
Yeah. This is a very new model they just released. So yeah, and it should work. Okay, if you have a I can just copy paste this block and send it whatever to the Slack and without my API key so that you can add this, but you have the same block in the slides as well. Let me just go back here. Okay. All right. Where was I? But now that you have continue in your, so one of the basic usage that you need to know is how do you add a new conversation? There is a plus sign here. And if you want to review your history, which is very useful, especially when you want to code, you can go back here and select here. You should, you can find your chat history. All right, let me do this. So what I have here, let me just show you how I use continue within my VS Code. This is the original main script, which was really, really on purpose. I mean, it was really not messy, but not in a good shape. Let's put it that way. And if you want to understand that what that code is doing, I can just do one of my favorite things, is to select all of it and put it on the chat. And on a Mac, I don't know the shortcut for you, but on a Mac, I just use Command L. And that will put all that code here. Unfortunately, I don't know the shortcut for it, but instead of manually copy pasting, then I just Command L and ask question. Like, what does this code do? Okay, give me. I can see that the connection is really slow because, all right. What if I'm not happy with that question in the output? I can change my question and go back. It's telling me analyze the relationship between the number of cups of coffee consumed and productivity and blah, 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 and seems reasonable. It's Control and Control L. Awesome. Control L, whatever you select here, it will put it on the chat. So, for example, I'm going to put this, just that tiny piece of code. And what can I ask with it? Can you generate a sample, data sample? Okay, here we go. This is useful when you want to perform tests, for example. You just want to fake data, then it's fine. I'm not in agent mode, otherwise you will have created already. Let me just go here and, all right. Sample. CSV. So I find it very useful to have an AI within your IDE because you can directly interact with the code and provide a diagram that explains this code. Let me see what we'll get. Okay, what kind of diagram? Okay, it's giving me this kind of. Okay, import library, load data, prepare plot, and blah, blah, blah. But there are more you can do. Because sometimes I want to prototype things very fast without necessarily vibe coding. And I find that this is very useful when you discover a new project that you don't really understand yet. Sure.
Diagram generation is depending on your resource, local resource, because currently can't generate. It's not able to generate diagrams or images in my laptop.
I think it depends on the plant. Because at the beginning,
I mean,
yeah, example, if you look here, you have several options. You have agent and plan, which cannot be done with the free model. I think it's only the paid model that can do all this.
no, I don't think so. I really think, because I'm using the same model here, I'm on the chat mode, because of course, as you mentioned, you're right. You have different options. You have the agent mode, you have the chat mode, and you have the plan mode. Plan is like when you have a very complex agent that does things on its own. And this is just the chat mode. And the chat mode, depending on how you formulate the diagram, because remember, LLM won't usually comply to your prompt. So if your prompt is good and the model is good as well, then it will generate that diagram. And there are stuff that we don't really control. It's about the temperature of the model. I don't know if that notion, you've heard about that notion before? Okay, temperature is a parameter for LLMs where you sort of control the creativity, or whatever, of the model. If the temperature is set to 0, the model is more determinist. And it will, when it generates a response, the response is token by token. And temperature 0 means it will select the most probable token. Whereas temperature is higher, it will be much more diverse. So, yeah. And here we have no control of the temperature because it's from Mistral. And as far as I understand, they said it default to 0.7, which is the accepted creativity, you know. But usually, because I have access to an API key, and actually you can see those parameters too. So, did you manage to get to run to use the sure?
How did you? I use Copilot.
Yeah.
And with Copilot, I ask a question, and you know that it's
Yeah.
a file I'm working on.
Yes.
But not with continue. So.
Okay, that's a good question. Did you activate autocomplete? I think you do by default. But one thing that I usually do, if you want to select within continue, and this is very important, you know, is to use the @ The @ it will display this, and my file is called main.py. Then and you ask your question. You know, I think I've only scratched the surface of Continuum because there is so much to learn, and there are so many tools within Continuum that I'm not aware of. But I just stick with the basics. You know, selecting a file with the @ The equivalent within Copilot is the pound. Yeah, this is for Copilots. It's the pound sign, and you have to. I think you have to wait, because I also have Copilot here. See, you can activate and deactivate it too. But I'm sure there must be a configuration at some point within continue. But even learning continue, there's just too much to. But you can. They have. I think they have a chat interface for their documentation that maybe you can use to handle what the configuration. But usually, for example, if I don't want to paste that that whole script, I'll just do explain this script, for example, and I'll just put at what is the main.file, right? And that's it. Okay. It will give me. Okay. Now let me please go back to my slides because. So now that we have, let me just recap that you have two ways of using AI assistants. Either you have a chat interface, web-based chat interface like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and other alternatives, or you integrate the LLM within your IDE, just like we did with Continue. And other than Continue, you have Cursor or Windsurf. There are so many of them. And once again, within a year, I'm sure there will be plenty of them. And you can use AI to know which one aligns with your work. But you also have dedicated tools. I put this on the very last moment because I think it's good to know that you have a Jupyter AI, which is an extension. You install within Jupyter, so you can add AI assistant with notebooks too. Well, you can visit the website, but I'll leave that to you. They have this, and it's constantly changing. Let me just constantly changing. They recently add MCP and whatever. So yeah, I think it's good to know. And if you want to know more about Jupyter AI, then please go on the GitHub and try it. Now, I don't know. What time is it? Okay. What are the key aspects of AI-assisted coding? I only selected 6 of them. And that choice is based on my background because I'm a mathematician. And the first thing that I found, I think it's important, is code understanding. And because when you work on a new project, especially, for example, this one, when I saw the P Coffee project, say, hey, what is this doing? I mean, and generally, understanding or having the high-level view of a code will simplify a lot what you are supposed to do and the main component. So we have code understanding, code debugging, code translation. Code translation simply means that, okay, you have a library, maybe say written in Rust or C++, and you want to translate that into your favorite language, which in my case is Python. I mean, Python is my favorite language because it's the only one that I really mastered. And code improvement, and finally, this one is a feature, code completion. And that gray zone here is like vibe coding, but we'll go through all of them. So code understanding is use AI to understand complex or messy code here, you know, because the standards are evolving. So I find it's very, very useful. And all of these aspects are based on prompting. And so I think that being able to formulate your question is a valuable skill when you are talking to an AI system. And so this is not really an exercise, but more of a hands-on thing. And I gave you the prompts are in the exercise session. And the way I designed it was for the original main script, which was on purpose not well organized. And so, yeah, try out those prompts because you need to understand for it before even typing the code. Now that you have VS CodeStrat within VS Code, you can try those prompts and see which one works better or which one gives you the more, a good understanding of this project. And so yeah, this was just try it out with a browser or within Continue and I'm gonna just try this one. The high-level prompt. And to do so, let me just and zoom in off. Oh, but where is the code again? I think I've provided the code. I provided you the code in the. Yep, this is the original code. So there is a lot of copy pasting here. Okay. Okay. Wow. It's gonna tell me. Okay. Quadratic. Let me compare with ChatGPT. No, I forgot the prompt. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, copy pasting a lot of stuff. It's just okay. What's okay? I mean, you can change those prompts and formulate differently. All right. So these are hands-on. So just, and the next thing that I find really useful when you're using an IDE is to be able to add these prompts so that you can use them later on. That's very important. For example, these are prompts for adding unit tests, you know, because there is a principle, the do not repeat yourself. So you should log these prompts so that you can use them in Continue whenever you want them, no matter what the project. I think it's good to have your prompt space. And how do you do it? It's the same thing. I mean, you just, in that same YAML config file, you put those prompts. I mean, I can put them here for your convenience, let me add them on the Slack. Okay, make sure the indentation is right, but yeah, I don't think the indentation is good here. But I'm gonna send it anyway. Just gonna have to make sure, yeah, I can see the indentation is not good, so. Let me just grab mine. Okay, oh my. I even have, because I'm a lazy guy, prompt to generate commit message. And also because I usually find hard to find the exact message, commit message to put. So okay. Okay.
Could you explain what the context, just both?
Okay, this is one of the mystery of the universe that I wasn't able to. I'm just kidding. No, the context here. This. Oh, okay. This. I think it's one of the things that a continue can use as a context. For example, sometimes it can use things from the terminal. The diff here, you can grab the diff command from Git, for example. But yeah. You see, for example, there's the terminal here, but I've only scratched the surface of the of continue. I don't know everything about it. I just focus on the most important things. Let me grab that. Oh man. Okay. Let me see if I must be able to modify this. Wait. Why is it not working? Let me see if it's working. Oh no. Let me see if it's working now. Yeah, I think it should. Well, these were just right. And the way you use them is with the slash command. You see, when I type the slash command, I can see all the registered prompt. And for example, let me just, okay. I even ask for a mermaid diagram because sometimes it works with good models. And let me just add main. Okay, so, okay, yeah. He was able to generate a mermaid diagram. And if you've ever used Copilot before, there are two types of configuration. There are system-wide configuration and project-wise configuration, which means that you can configure prompt for this project only, and the way you do it is, that little, that little thing here. One of the, the screen is too small. Yeah, sorry, it's the other one. Yeah, that logo here, that little pen here, that's where you can configure the prompt for this specific project. And you can see there is a prompt here. And you can add more prompt and whatever, but I'm not just gonna do. There are prompts that I want to use, for every project. For example, commit message or high-level understanding or unit test. I use, the same that prompt. Okay. Did you manage to register the prompt, and are they appearing? Oh, no, this one, I don't want it to. See, when you register a prompt locally, there is this folder here that appears, and you can find the prompt that you configure here. But all my prompts are, generally I put them. Oh, hey. I don't need it for now. So yeah. Can you improve the following code? Just this vague prompt like this? How would you the following prompt? Okay. All right, well, he does. So you can go back and look at the prompts of the previous exercise and add them in continue so you can use them later on. Did you manage to add them? Okay, awesome. So one of the tips that I can give for code understanding is to ask for to know the purpose and the context. And AI is really good at it. You can ask, for example, what problem does the code solve? What background is required to understand the code? And those things that I've tried that went really well for me. You can add this prompt, for example, and say, as a mathematician describing this code, can you explain what are the most important part? And this is a technique, a prompting technique that works really well. And the other one is to add your background. I'm an engineer, I'm a physicist, I'm an astrophysicist, I'm a PhD student, and I have to do this. Then explain me this code. And sometimes you can get really good output. And also keep in mind the high level structure. So these are things that you can try, you can add and see what you, especially this, the data flow. Okay. So as I mentioned before, my prompts are usually vague, you know, and one of the good way to have a better prompt is to use AI, you know, just use AI because I find that AI can help you structure your, you know, your idea and be the judge. I mean, don't accept what it says. You say, okay, does it correspond to what I meant to say? And sometimes it helps in, it works really well. And before submitting anything, please make sure that you're not pasting an API key or sensitive information, even I don't know, a project you're working on. Sometimes it can happen that you're so fast in copy pasting that you don't pay attention to those kind of things, and that can be a problem. Okay. What about code debugging? I mean, this is one of the aspect when you code with AI that you will use the most, because most of the time you'll have bugs in your code, and AI is really great at identifying the issues. Here is an example, and it's but for transparency, I found that example from Google, actually. You know, for example, you have a Python script. It is good to mention also the version, because the model will know, you know, the below Python 3.10 code give this error, and debug what's wrong and how can I improve the code. So I put the sources here. These are from Google, and there is this paper that, I mean, if you click on it, it would point me to Kaggle, but it's from Google, actually. So there are so many things there that you can learn. You can learn and see. AI models, I mean, LLMs, have context limitations. So when you're going to submit your piece of code and the error, make sure that it's not too long, you know, because that will, it won't just work, you get an error. I mean, recent models such as ChatGPT or Claude, I mean, they can manage longer context, but still, it's something that you should have in mind, especially if you're using a local model with Llama. Keep that in mind. One of the things that you should have, the schema, is to always iterate. You have an error or a bug, send the context and the error. And step 3, you'll get a diagnosis and a suggestion. But the most critical part is here, is to inspect, you know, and understand why, I mean, the fix. Then you can apply the fix, you'll see. If it works, then good for you. If not, well, you start over again. And here again, I'm insisting because LLMs can be distracted, which means that if you mix so many messages, so many error after error, you pile up everything, then you will miss the real bug. So you have to, I mean, the attention mechanism won't work well. So you have to be careful here.
So your hint there would be to restart from scratch or
That's a good question. You have two options. Either start with a better model, because, yeah, it happens to me that I was using ChatGPT, the free version, and it didn't catch the error. And I tried with Claude, it did catch the error. So yeah, that's one strategy. But otherwise, yeah, there is no general recipe. I mean, it also depends on your own skill, the way you understand, or maybe I submitted too much, and you start. But usually, yeah, all of this, remember what I've said before, that better LLM, you get a better result. And yeah, that applies here, especially when you debug code. But unfortunately, I don't have a general solution, but what worked for me in the past is to test different models, and try to understand each error. But yeah, but this loop, yeah, you keep iterating, and if you see that, it's taking too long, then maybe you missed something in the middle. And okay, I've provided an exercise there, which should point directly to, oh no, I missed the, oh boy. But it's in the, no, why is it pointing to the 4? Oh, sorry, I don't know. Did you manage to catch the bugs in the first code, or maybe just basically, I mean, I put some errors here on purpose, and one of them is, I mean, it's in this, let me just zoom in. Okay. See, there are methods here, the values here, I put them as function, but no, I mean, in pandas, you don't have values, but these things, you will see them when you try to run the code, you get an error, and then some of them will be, I mean, if you know pandas, you will catch, oh, you know what, I understand why. And other errors occur. Where did I put an error? Yeah. Here, see, there is a typo here. It's a column name, which is why it's important to write unit test, when column don't match, so you can catch them. Make sure that you have the right schema for your data set. So that was the idea. And the last error that I put there on purpose was the file name. I think there is no S in the main CSV file. And my goal was to insist, just like Max said, that you should write unit test for your code, because if you don't verify about the existence of the file, well, then your code will not work, and you will have bugs. So the intent was to insist on the running, on implementing tests, proper tests for your code. So yeah, I think there were only 3 of them. the colon and methods that don't really exist and other things like that. So these ones are general standard things that I've heard from other people, like you shouldn't use prompt just like I did, like fix this code or put all your code at once. And I think that it has been said before, you should fix one thing at a time, not everything. And AI can generate very, very long response when you only need one tiny fix. So do mention the version, the framework. As I say, if you have a JavaScript code, then mention it and describe, be specific in the what you want to debug. Well, these are just prompting tips, basically, because AI, LLM were trained on data from Stack Overflow or from, I don't know, other places, then you should use that biases somehow to ask AI how to respond. For example, act as a senior Python developer and debug this, fix the bug without changing, because sometimes you want to fix a tiny piece of code, and it will, if you submit the whole code, it will change other things, and well, then that doesn't work very well. I don't think, are we pausing now for a moment?
Coffee break.
Okay, so do you have a question, or we'll take the question session later?
I will not ask you to summarize, because you just summarized everything, so that's nice.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad.
Good time for the break then.
Okay, good.
Thanks again.
Thank you.